Good evening. It is another Thursday evening and once again we are at Holme Pierrepont Country Park in Nottingham, and this week we are taking part in a 5k race. So last week we took part in a 10k race and we got a new PB, quite a significant new PB. So tonight we are attempting to go for a new 5k PB, though maybe the confidence isn't very high for that, and I'll tell you why in a minute. This is another one of our videos about chasing race predictions. So if you haven't been following along, just as a reminder, Runna, Strava and Garmin all give race predictions based on a different algorithm or a different number of factors, and for the last couple of months we have been testing ourselves against the race predictions. So we did so at the Hackney Half, got a new PB across the half marathon. We did so last week here for the 10k, got ourselves a new 10k PB. So we're doing it for the 5k tonight. We haven't done many 5k races. We are knocking on the door of 200 park runs. So we are very used to running the 5k distance, but we are not that used to doing kind of competitive races across the 5k. I can possibly count on one hand the number of proper 5k races I've done in my life. We got a new 5k PB earlier this year at the Podium 5k Festival in Leicester, where we broke 20 minutes for the first time in our life. We did 19 minutes and 50 seconds. So we are trying to beat that tonight. As I say, I'm not 100% sure we're going to get there. I'll tell you why in a minute, but I'll tell you what the predictions are from the various apps to start with. So Runna thinks that I can do a 19 minutes and 45 second 5k currently, and that is based on my fresh new PB across the 10k from last week, which was 41:55. Garmin thinks that I can do a 19 minutes and 34 seconds, so even quicker than the Runna prediction, and Strava thinks that I can do 20 minutes and 27 seconds, which wouldn't be a new PB. It'd still be a good time for me, but that wouldn't be a PB. So I am going to set my watch up to pace me for the big goal, the Garmin goal, the 19 minutes and 34 seconds, which effectively means that I'll be trying to run at an average pace of 3 minutes 55 per kilometre. When I set my PB in March, that was averaging a pace of 3 minutes 58, so I need to go a smidge faster. A few factors at play that might impact that. One, I've only ever done it once in my life. Two, it is warmer than last week. My car said it was around 25 degrees. Last week it was closer to 20, so it is a bit warmer this evening. And I've not been following a specific training block for this kind of thing for quite a while, but I hadn't last week either for the 10k, and we did pretty well. So we're just going to see what happens. Wish me luck, and yeah, we'll chat at the end. Misfire! And after a slight false start due to an issue with the starting pistol, we were away. Fortunately, like last week, this was a chip time race, so I wasn't too concerned with being a bit back in the pack. There were paces up to 22 minutes today, so I just took a chance on where I should be in front of them to go for my sub 20 minute target. I'd got used to these compact starts at lots of park runs, given the narrow paths, took to the grass a bit during the first kilometre to try and get into the pace window I was after, successfully hitting a 3 minutes 49 seconds for kilometre 1, slightly ahead of target. In kilometre 2, there was a bit of navigating around other runners, but I pretty much found my rhythm by this point. After my 10k PB here last week, I was worried I would still be carrying some fatigue into today's race, but at this stage I was still feeling pretty fresh, and I had managed to stay slightly ahead of target pace for kilometre 2 with a 3 minutes 52 second split. Kilometre 3 started by navigating the two turns at the north end of the lake. With my heart rate now into the mid 170s, I was close to redlining and I could definitely feel it. On this side of the track, the wind was against me and I was having to work harder to keep pace. Those two factors, along with some fatigue probably from last week's 10k race, meant that when I hit the 3 kilometre point and I was still slightly ahead of target with a 3 minutes 54 second kilometre, it was a surprise, but I was already starting to lose confidence. The wheels definitely felt like they came off during kilometre 4, I felt my pace drop significantly and I was getting overtaken and seeing those runners pulling comfortably away from me. I've spoken before about the mental battle sometimes being harder than the physical one, and that was never more true than here. I was possibly closer to throwing in the towel more than ever before during the race. My split had dropped to 4 minutes 11 for this kilometre, and I thought that I had blown it. At this point, I felt the PB had gone, and I had to just tell myself that a sub 25k might still be on the cards, which would have only been the second time I would have ever done it.
Thank you.
Back in March at the Podium 5k festival, I talked about how having pacers effectively played the role of my brain during that race. Without them today, having to look after my own pacing, I wouldn't say I underestimated that, but it definitely made it a much harder battle. Now on the final straight, I was determined to fight for every second. I had come this far and I didn't want to have any regrets.
And I am done. Oh, the official results are not yet out. So by the time I make this video, the results will be out. So I'll be able to update. But if my watch is accurate, that is a new lifetime 5k PB, and only the second time in my life I've gone under 20 minutes. So we definitely went under 20 minutes. Whether we did it in under 19 minutes and 50 seconds is yet to be confirmed. My watch said 19:49. We set ourselves up with the hope of doing a 19:34, which was the Garmin time. The Garmin prediction, I should say, all a little bit of fun. The runner prediction was 19:45. That was the closest, and Strava was 20:27. So once again, we used those as our motivation to push us to a strong race, and it's paid off again. So the kind of 2 Thursdays in a row, I have set hopeful new lifetime PBs across 10k last week, and hopefully across 5k this week. I may not look as gleeful as I did in last week's video with the 10k, and that's because right now I am a little bit on the fence whether that will officially count as a lifetime PB. But nonetheless, I know I ran this place last week on a 10k course, but for years I've wanted to do a competitive 5k here, which you just run one loop of the rowing lake. I would struggle for you to find a faster 5k in the country in perfect conditions. It is basically best part of 2.5k straights, with obviously maybe a couple of 100 meters each. So maybe about 2.3k straights with about maybe 200 meters of really nice, it doesn't slow you down, bends at the end. And I've been coming to Holme Pierrepont quite a few years doing runs, and I've always wanted to do a competitive 5k here. And I got that today, and I wanted to push hard. I'll be honest, I was really doing well for the first 3k. Started to feel it, but was pushing. But by 3.5k, my pace had really started to suffer, and I dropped kind of below 4 minutes per kilometre. I think my watch sometimes was shown as much as kind of 4:10, which still for me is a very quick pace, but I thought I'd blown it. But in the final 500 meters, I just absolutely emptied the tank. I won't say I entered the pain cave, because I was pretty much in the pain cave probably from 3 minutes into the race. My first kilometre was, I think, a 3:49, something like that. Second was similar. So yeah, I'm delighted. I put 8 weeks of specific training for my PB that I achieved in March, and I haven't done any specific training recently for either the 10 or the 5k. So these have just been grit. They have been determination. They have been the will to put myself in that dark place for best part of 42 minutes last week, for 20 minutes tonight. And it's not something that I want to do every week, I'll tell you that. So I think that's going to finish our kind of racing for now. We've already delayed the start of our marathon training block by a week to allow us to enter these 2 races. So we need to kind of hunker down and take that a little bit seriously. So I will bring up the result. I'll probably have brought it up earlier, but that's the face if I've got a new PB. That's the face if I haven't, because I've still gone sub 20 for the second time in my life. So thank you for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, watch all my other videos. Follow me along for my marathon training journey, which is going to start next week for both Amsterdam in October and Valencia in December. So until then, see you next time. See ya.